So here's the thing about Neon and women, and I want to be clear before we get into this. This is not a story about a guy being a player. This is a story about a guy who kept sending signals, kept pulling someone in, and then when things got complicated, acted like none of it was his doing. It played out in front of hundreds of thousands of people, in real time, on stream. So let us actually walk through what happened from the beginning. It starts with Alabama. Several weeks of streaming together, obvious chemistry on camera, and Neon had privately told her he liked her. Not hinted, not maybe suggested it, told her directly. So Alabama was not operating off assumptions or reading into thin air. She was responding to something he said to her with his own mouth. That is the foundation of everything that follows. And it matters because the moment you understand that she was not imagining things, the rest of this timeline hits completely differently. Now the first sign something was off happened in Vegas. Alabama gets there, checks the stream, and sees a girl named Danielle sitting directly behind Neon on camera, not somewhere in the background, right behind him, visible on stream. And her immediate reaction when she saw it was exactly what you would expect from someone who had just been told by this guy that he liked her. Look at what she is actually describing there. Weeks of building something real. Weeks after he told her directly that he liked her. And the first thing she sees when she arrives in Vegas is another woman positioned right next to him on camera. She's not being paranoid. She's looking at a situation that does not add up and asking the obvious question. So she confronts him about it. And Neon tells her he did not even want Danielle there, that she just showed up. That he had absolutely no idea how she even got there, but Alabama wasn't buying a single word of it. And she's right to call that out, because the thing Neon kept saying did not match the thing Neon kept doing. He said he did not want Danielle there, but he stayed. She stayed, nothing was done about it. And Alabama had specifically been promised that if someone she did not want around showed up, he would remove them. That promise clearly had conditions attached to it that were never communicated upfront. Alabama filed it away as red flag number 1 and kept moving. But she did not forget it. Then comes Miami, and this part matters because it shows exactly how much Alabama was actually putting into this situation. She has a genuine fear of flying. Her father had recently been in a plane crash. She was carrying that emotionally on top of everything else, and she was dealing with panic attacks every single day during this trip. Hear what she's actually saying there. She was in the hospital every day, every single day, and the internet was running clips framing it as Alabama not wanting to link with Neon. That is not what was happening. She was there. She got on a plane despite everything she was going through. Not for content, not for brand deal, purely for him. And the moment she finally recovered enough to link up, they did a beach stream together, and things seemed fine. But the moment they got back, Neon announces he is going to Brazil with Yetta, a girl he had shown romantic interest in before. Alabama had just pushed through panic attacks and hospital visits to be in Miami with him, and his very next move after that was to tell her about a trip he was planning with another woman he had history with. Listen to how she frames that. Not explosive, not emotional, just pointing out the obvious gap between what he says and what he does every single time. But think about what that actually means. Neon tried to soften the Brazil situation by telling her he would make it a 24-hour stream specifically so he would not be spending time with Yetta off camera. And that sounds like a reassurance on the surface. But you do not preemptively promise to stay on camera around someone unless you already know the concern exists. He was aware of exactly why that situation would bother Alabama. Yetta ended up not going anyway, but the pattern was now impossible to ignore. Alabama raises something. Neon responds with something that sounds like an address, and then the very next situation contradicts it entirely. Then comes the moment that really locked in the double standard. Rikai calls Alabama on stream and asks if she wants to do a collab. Neon is right there, and he immediately shuts it down. 3 words. Alabama is not streaming with Rikai, and she accepted it. They are not in a defined relationship. He has no formal standing to make that call, but she let it go. And then the very next day, Neon calls her with an announcement. Look at how ridiculous that sounds when you actually hear it laid out. He tells her she cannot stream with a platform colleague, and then calls her the next morning to announce he is flying privately with a woman he just booked content with. Alabama even gave him the most generous framing possible. She acknowledged that streaming is his job. She said she never had a problem with him doing content with other people. The issue was never the streaming. The issue was a rule that applied only to her and to absolutely nobody else in the situation. Then there is the haunted house stream. By this point, things had been building for weeks, and it showed on camera. Alabama said Neon was cold, dismissive, and genuinely rude the entire time they were live together. And here's the part that makes it worse. She found out later that the reason he was checked out and rude the entire stream was because he had been communicating with Danielle again in the background while they were live. So not only was he treating Alabama badly on camera, but the reason he was behaving that way was that he was texting the same woman he had told Alabama he never even wanted at the Vegas event. After she sent that text calling it out, his response was to apologize and send flowers. Flowers, apology, reset button. Except what came next was not a reset at all. It was the thing that reframed every single moment that had come before it. Because what happened after the haunted house stream is where the whole situation shifted from complicated to something with an entirely different texture. After the apology, after the flowers, Neon's manager picked up the phone and called Alabama's manager, and what came out of that call had nothing to do with clearing the air. Wait, the fake what? The fake relationship. Because Alabama had not been operating inside a fake relationship. She thought they were building something genuine. She thought the connection was real. And finding out that his management had a completely different category for what this was the entire time hit her in a way that came through clearly when she talked about it. Hear the confusion in that. She's not even angry in that moment. She's genuinely disoriented because she had been navigating this situation as if it were real while his team was apparently treating it as a content arc to be managed and progressed on a schedule. And that single phone call reframes everything that came before it. Every concern she raised that he addressed. Every time he told her he liked her. Every apology. Every flower delivery. That he had absolutely no idea how she even got there, but Alabama wasn't buying a single word of it. Now Alabama said directly that she does not know whether the fake relationship idea came from Neon or from his manager, and that difference really matters. She acknowledged it herself, but she also made clear it does not change how the whole thing feels, because either way someone in his circle was thinking about this as a managed internet narrative while she was trying to figure out if any of it was genuine. Alabama told her manager Manny she was not doing it, full stop. Then Neon goes back to Miami, still calling her every day, still texting every day, keeping the connection alive like nothing fundamental had changed. And then a photo surfaces. Danielle at a resort. Alabama asks him directly, simple question, are you with Danielle in Miami? Just sit with that sequence for a second. Direct denial, then a confession that the denial was a lie. There is no missing context, no alternative reading of it. He was with Danielle, he said he was not, and then he confirmed that he lied. Alabama's response, that flat cool, communicates everything that a longer reaction never could. Around the same time, the photo comes out of Alabama kissing another guy, and this is where it gets genuinely interesting because this is the moment Neon reacted the most strongly, and it is also the moment where his reaction made the least logical sense, because they had never defined what they were. No conversation about dating, no exclusivity agreement, nothing formal had ever been established between them. Look at the position she's being put in there. She's apologizing for making him look bad, inside a situation where they had no agreement, inside a situation where he had just lied to her about being with Danielle and sent a casual sorry I lied text right after. She's the one apologizing. She texted him and made her position clear. You have never made it clear you wanted to be more than friends, so I do not appreciate you being upset at me. They went back and forth, 7 paragraphs, set some boundaries, and it seemed like things were winding down on mutual terms. He went live, not to make peace, not to say something measured and quiet. He went live and made it a full public event. His team sent her manager the contact information for their lawyers on top of that. Alabama said on her own live that she was genuinely confused, because from her perspective all she had done was say they were not doing content together anymore. She even acknowledged that announcing it publicly was slightly immature of her. But she drew a clear line between what she actually communicated and what it was being treated as. Grow up and call my phone. That single line completely compresses the entire nightmare into one sentence, because when you look at it, every significant milestone in this story happened in front of a lens. From Vegas and Miami to the haunted house, the entire fallout and response played out as a live broadcast. Alabama kept insisting that the streams were totally genuine from her side with absolutely no script, but behind the scenes. His management team was busy building a corporate content architecture around her real feelings, strategizing how to progress a fake relationship, while she was just trying to figure out if she was dealing with a real friend. And eventually, she discovered that her actual life was being treated like a seasonal plotline for his channel. Stories like this show exactly how toxic the streaming space gets when metrics completely take over reality. If you want more unfiltered breakdowns that pull back the curtain on internet drama like this, hit that subscribe button right now so you do not miss the next one. Even the drama surrounding the Birkin bag got twisted completely by the internet. People were saying she threw it away or disrespected it. She does not hate him. She does not hate his team. She just hates that a phone call was never made. And the reason a phone call was never made is probably because a phone call does not get clips, does not move numbers, does not progress the fake relationship in the right direction. Think about what she actually went through, flying while completely terrified, dealing with constant hospital visits, fighting off panic attacks every single day, and accepting restrictions on who she could even stream with, all while potentially being inside something his team had already categorized and labeled before she even understood what it was. And at the end of the day, that appears to be exactly what this whole situation was built around from the side that had a manager making calls about it, which is precisely what makes it as lame as she said it was.